The story begins with an important meeting taking place in Salamanca, Spain at exactly 12 p.m. Leaders from over 150 countries, representing both the Arab world and the West, have gathered in Plaza Mayor to discuss a new international plan to fight terrorism. The President of the United States is present to sign this crucial agreement, which aims to prevent future attacks like those on September 11, 2001. The atmosphere is tense, and heavily armed security guards are stationed all around, ensuring that the area remains secure. The scene then shifts to a nearby TV studio where JNN is reporting the event using multiple camera angles. Soon, the president's convoy arrives, and journalists rush forward to capture the historic moment. Secret Service agents form a tight security circle as they escort the president safely toward the stage. The mayor of Salamanca steps forward and introduces the President of the United States, who is about to deliver his speech. But suddenly, everything changes. A gunshot rings out, and the president is hit. The crowd gasps in shock, screams echo through the plaza, and panic spreads instantly. Security forces react within seconds, rushing to protect other world leaders and secure the area. The injured president is quickly taken to an ambulance as chaos erupts. Just when things couldn't get worse, a bomb explodes outside Plaza Mayor, sending fear and confusion through the crowd. Moments later, another explosion strikes directly at the stage where the leaders were standing, injuring many and making the situation even more horrifying. Even the JNN reporters, who were there to cover the event, become trapped in the unfolding disaster. Then, the story rewinds, 23 minutes earlier, back to exactly 12 p.m. We are introduced to Thomas, a Secret Service agent assigned to protect the president. He is in a hotel room preparing for this high-risk mission when his colleague, Kent Taylor, arrives and tells him it's time to move. Kent reminds Thomas how critical their responsibility is, keeping the president safe during such a high-profile international gathering. When they arrive at Plaza Mayor, they notice a large group of protesters who strongly oppose the president's presence in their city. Journalists are everywhere, ready to report every second of the event. Thomas and Kent quickly take their positions, staying alert and scanning for any possible threats. As the president reaches the stage, the mayor warmly welcomes him, and the crowd erupts in cheers. But in that moment, Thomas notices something unusual, a curtain moving in a window of a nearby building overlooking the plaza. His instincts immediately kick in, and he alerts the security team to investigate. At the same time, something unexpected happens. Thomas recalls knocking down a man near the stage earlier, and now realizes that the man was actually a police officer assigned to protect the mayor. Despite this realization, Thomas still feels something is off. He instructs his colleague to hold the man, suspecting that he might still be involved in something dangerous. Then suddenly, another explosion hits. Chaos returns. Amid the confusion, an American tourist who had been recording the entire event catches Thomas's attention. Thomas quickly asks to see the footage and notices a flash from a gun in one of the building windows. Realizing the seriousness of this clue, Thomas informs Kent, who immediately decides to pursue the suspect on his own. While Thomas continues reviewing the footage, he suddenly rushes toward the stage, but another bomb explodes, injuring several people, including one of his fellow agents. Understanding that JNN had been filming everything from multiple angles, Thomas heads straight to their studio to review additional footage from behind the plaza. As he watches, he receives a call from Kent, who says he has located the shooter and is currently chasing him. Without wasting a second, Thomas contacts the control center, requesting immediate backup to assist Kent in capturing the suspect. However, when Thomas tries to call Kent again to share more information, something feels wrong. A sense of unease grows inside him. Uncertain about what might happen next, Thomas leaves the JNN studio, filled with doubt and tension. The story then rewinds further, 12 hours earlier. Now we follow Enrique, a Spanish police officer assigned to protect the mayor. While on duty in the crowded Plaza Mayor, Enrique notices his girlfriend, Veronica, talking to an unfamiliar man. Suspicious, he secretly listens to their conversation and learns that they plan to meet later under a bridge. This discovery makes him uneasy. Without thinking much, Enrique approaches Veronica, greets her, and hands her a bag, asking her to keep it safe. After that, he returns to his position behind the stage, continuing his duty, but his mind remains troubled by what he just saw. Back in the present, when the president is shot, Enrique rushes toward the stage to protect the mayor. But before he can act, Thomas tackles him to the ground, and other Secret Service agents restrain him for questioning. At that exact moment, Enrique sees Veronica throwing the bag under the stage. He tries desperately to warn the agents, but no one listens. He is taken away. Seconds later, the bomb inside the bag explodes. After the blast, Enrique manages to escape from the agents and runs toward the bridge, where he stops a passing car. Once again, the story returns to 12 p.m., but this time from a different perspective. We now see everything through the eyes of Howard, an American tourist recording the event with his camcorder. Howard is enjoying his vacation, trying to move on from a difficult phase in his personal life. As he films the crowd and the world leaders at Plaza Mayor, a stranger strikes up a conversation with him. Their brief exchange is interrupted when a little girl named Dana accidentally bumps into Howard. He smiles kindly, forgives her, and continues recording the event. As the president steps up to speak, Howard keeps filming. Through his camera lens, he notices Thomas staring toward a building window. Curious, Howard zooms in and sees a man inside. Moments later, the shot is fired. Howard captures everything. He even records Veronica throwing a bomb under the podium. When Enrique is arrested, Howard tries to warn the Secret Service about the bomb, but they ignore him. Soon after, another explosion occurs outside the plaza, sending the crowd into complete panic as people desperately try to escape. Then Thomas approaches Howard and asks to see his video footage. And this is where everything begins to connect. While watching the footage, Kent goes after the suspect. At the same time, as Thomas carefully reviews the video, he clearly sees Veronica tossing the bag under the podium. Realizing the serious danger, Thomas immediately runs toward the stage, but before he can reach it, the bomb explodes. After the blast, Howard somehow survives. As the chaos continues, he notices Anna, the little girl, desperately looking for her mother. Without hesitation, Howard grabs Anna and rushes to find a safer place outside the plaza. While moving through the panic, Howard spots Enrique being chased by Secret Service agents. He quickly hands Anna over to a nearby police officer, then decides to keep recording everything that's happening. From the overpass, Howard watches in fear as Secret Service agents open fire on Enrique, making the situation even more intense and chaotic. As tension rises, Howard tries to ask a police officer for information, but his attention suddenly shifts back to Anna, who is now in a dangerous situation again. Moments later, an ambulance comes speeding toward her. Howard's heart starts racing. Without thinking twice, he runs into the street with all his strength, determined to save the little girl. Then, the story once again shifts back to 12 p.m., this time from the perspective of the President of the United States. The President is being escorted by his bodyguards on the way to the event. But here comes a shocking twist. The real president never actually went to Plaza Mayor. The person Thomas and his team were protecting was not the real president, but a body double. This was part of a carefully planned strategy created by the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff after the National Security Agency discovered a possible threat to the president's life. After this, the real president's team returns to the hotel, where they inform him that a local terrorist group, connected to the Muniz army, is behind the planned attack. The group is led by Ben War Suarez, a man originally from Morocco who is now living in the area. The U.S. government had already uncovered part of the plan by intercepting emails from the terrorist group discussing the attack. To protect the president, officials decided to send a body double to Plaza Mayor instead of the real one. But this decision had another purpose as well. The U.S. wanted a strong reason to strike back if terrorists attempted to assassinate the president. By using this strategy, they aimed to quickly identify and stop the terrorist group before they could carry out further attacks. It was also a clear message that the U.S. would not stay silent if its leaders were targeted. When the president's team arrives at the hotel, the tension that had been building suddenly turns real. The attack begins. The president's body double, who is at Plaza Mayor, is brutally shot by the terrorists. This horrifying moment is broadcast live on television, and everyone inside the hotel watches it happen in real time. The room fills with fear and disbelief as they witness the shocking footage, making the situation even more intense. Then suddenly, a loud explosion shakes the hotel lobby. the entire building trembles. Everyone realizes they are in even greater danger than they thought. Panic spreads rapidly as it becomes clear that this is not just a single attack, but a much larger, coordinated operation. The story then shifts again to 12 p.m., but now from the perspective of the terrorists. We see Benoit Suarez, the leader of the terrorist group, sitting calmly in a cafe near Plaza Mayor. Veronica is with a man named Javier, who is secretly part of the special forces. However, Javier is being forced to cooperate with the terrorists because they have kidnapped his brother. At the same time, one of the cameramen from JNN is revealed to be secretly working with the terrorist group. The terrorists are already one step ahead. Suarez knows that the man at the event is not the real U.S. president, but just a body double. Soon, Suarez gives an order to another terrorist who is positioned at the hotel, instructing him to monitor the arrival of the president's team. After that, Suarez orders Javier to kidnap the real president. When Javier reaches the hotel, one of his allies gives him a master key card that allows him to access any room in the building. Meanwhile, Suarez notices Howard filming Veronica and Enrique. To distract Howard, Suarez casually starts a conversation with him. Once everything is set, Suarez leaves Howard and continues executing his plan. At the same time, Javier successfully takes control of the hotel's main control room and provides Suarez with the radio frequency used by the Secret Service. This allows Suarez to secretly listen in on their communications. But then, Suarez betrays Javier. He kills Javier's brother. Immediately after, he signals his accomplice at the hotel to begin the bombing. The operation moves forward. Meanwhile, Thomas is still at the JNN studio when he finally discovers the truth. Kent is a traitor and part of the terrorist group. Without wasting a second, Thomas begins chasing Kent, who is heading toward the back of the Plaza Mayor building. At the same time, inside another part of the hotel, Javier manages to kidnap the real president and hands him over to Veronica. After completing the task, Javier, now appearing injured, leaves the scene. Veronica and Suarez then transport the president inside an ambulance with the help of their accomplice from JNN. Javier changes his clothes and waits for Kent to pick him up. As Thomas continues chasing Kent, he receives shocking news. The real president has been kidnapped. However, no one knows where he has been taken. At that moment, Thomas realizes something critical. Catching Kent is the only way to find the president. Soon, Kent arrives and picks up Javier, but Thomas spots them. A high-speed chase begins. After an intense pursuit through the streets, Thomas finally manages to track down their location. He confronts Suarez in a fierce gunfight and successfully shoots him. Then, Thomas finds the president, tied up, but still alive. Without delay, he frees him. Moments later, Thomas calls the Secret Service and informs them of the president's location. Soon, the agents and medical team arrive to secure and assist the president. And with that, the story comes to an end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.